Go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Dr. Mo, Dr. Larry, Dr. Curly, Dr. Herbie to surgery. Yes, everyone thought there was only Three Stooges. There was actually 5, right, with brother Joe Howard. And, of course, Shemp, kind of the oddball, who always coined, why does everything always happen to me? Enter Dr. Herbstreit. Kirk Herbstreit. The man has gone rogue. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. What has happened to this man? The once lovable Herbie who would show up with the blue eyes and the blue blouse and the nicely coiffed hair and the Botox was working. The women wanted to be with him. The gentlemen wanted to be like him. Now, all of a sudden, it's like a midlife crisis, and the guy's making so much bank from both college football and the National Football League, but that's not enough. Kirk Herbstreit now, or as I like to refer him as, Dr. Herbie, because remember, 4 years ago, he told us there would be no college football season. He put himself ahead of the doctors. He put himself ahead of science, telling us that there would be no football. That was the expert, Dr. Herbie. But the whole Florida State thing has been told, right? And for the most part, it's over until he brings it up again on Twitter, right? And he called the Florida State fan base, or a portion of it, lunatic fringe, and that's just absurd. Florida State fans are pissed. Whether you're an 80-year-old woman or a 12-year-old boy, they're pissed. Don't try to double back and say a lunatic fringe. Stick with it. Own with it. I've already voiced my opinion on it, but let's get to the blockbuster story that has come down today, which in my opinion is a fireable offense for Dr. Herbie. If you have not heard, it came forward today. Let me find the source. It's a Georgia Bulldog based website. Okay, one of the, every school's got 3 or 4, used to have beat writers from papers, right? They're gone now. The Florida Times-Union, they don't send anyone over there. The Orlando Sentinel doesn't send anyone to Gainesville or Tallahassee, or maybe they do to Gainesville. I don't know. I don't pay for that wall crap. I mean, it's everywhere. But it's now, a bunch of kids graduated from the school. They're big football fans. They form their own little entity, and they've received some backing. And, the information can be pretty good. I think they work hard. In every college, every major college has 3 or 4 different websites that they trust and that they lean on. Well, today it has come forward that the major switch with the young quarterback, the 5-star Dylan Raiola, who was all set to go to Georgia, according to his dad, he told, and I will find the source of the newspaper or the internet site. I thought when I took a screenshot here that I had it. I don't. I apologize. I'll find out where that came from coming up here in just a couple of moments. But his dad was asked today, Dominic Raiola, and this is exactly what he said, and I quote, "I'll bring up one guy's name. His name is Kirk Herbstreit. When he saw the smoke about Dylan entertaining Nebraska, he was like, call me. He was like, dude, if this is true, he's got to do it. His affinity for Nebraska, for a guy like that, to tell me to get behind him, I knew he needed to do it, but I wasn't going to sit here and say you need to go change that place or be a part of the change of that place." So when Kirk told me that, I was like, man, I had other coaches reach out and say, the place is special. Coach Rule is a special leader. All right, there's much more involved with the story. Let's get straight to it. He's a college football analyst. He's an in-game analyst who also doubles down in the NFL and is part of the game day mess, right? Because frankly, it's become a mess. Sidebar story: Nick Saban added to ESPN's Game Day. That announcement came down this afternoon as well. So you're going to have Reese Davis, who's a total fraud. You're going to have Dr. Herbie, who not only sells the propaganda, but again, has gone completely rogue. You've got Lee Corso, who I don't know why they walk him out there anymore. I mean, I just don't. He was great for that show. He was great for decades. He's just, we all get older, right? I mean, you can boot out Brent Musburger. You can boot out Vern Lundquist. You can boot out Johnny Miller. You can boot out Phil Simms. You can boot out guys when they get older. But for one reason, it's like, oh, no. Lee Corso is sacred. It's really kind of sad to watch him up there. And I say that in a respectful way because he's been very good, right? But he shouldn't be there. And then what else do you got? You got Desmond Howard, who's never once gone against the home team or against the home fans. Now I guess you got Pat McAfee, who is in. So Herb Street does offer up opinions, which is kind of the new wave of, I guess, where we are. I'd like to say journalism, but this is anything but journalism. This is agenda-driven material by Dr. Herb Street. Georgia fans, I cannot imagine what you are thinking about right now. You were pushed to the back burner, even after winning 29 straight games. There's no doubt, even though you lost to Alabama on a bad call. We all remember what happened on that. Is it a catch? Wasn't it a catch? You're never going to win a call, even if you're Kirby Smart, even if you're back-to-back champions in the world of college football. You're never going to win a call against Nick Saban with a big game on the line. And we all know that changed the entire complexion of the game. Bama won. They won late. You didn't get in. Georgia was the best team this year in college football. Okay? Georgia beats Michigan. Georgia beats Washington. That's just my opinion. We didn't have it because we have a 4-team college football playoff. But all the rage was Florida State. That was everything because they were undefeated. Kind of left, crumbs on the table, if you will, was Georgia. You guys won 29 in a row. And your opinion was voiced. It wasn't heard, not nearly enough. Now, after dealing with that, I can't even think about how heated you are to find out that one of the most prominent, one of the most influential voices in all of sports, certainly college football, is picking up the phone to call the daddy of the 5-star who has been a verbal commitment to Georgia and is telling him, go to Nebraska? I'm sure things like this have happened before, okay? Problem is, we're not aware of it. We don't know of it. At least I'm not aware of it. This is wrong. What Kirk Herbstreit did by saying Florida State should not get in to the Final Four is fine. That's his opinion. And most of you agree with it. That is what he is there for. That's his opinion. That was Reese Davis's opinion. That was Paul Feinbaum's opinion. Joe Tessitore, during the broadcast against Louisville, was openly rooting for Texas to get in, openly rooting for Alabama to get in. That's fine. That is their opinion. And actually, to some extent, they probably did overdo it. Certainly the in-game broadcast. And I get it. It was one of the ugliest games we had ever seen. There was no offense on either side, and Florida State won that game because of their defense. Nonetheless, Herbstreit said it, and you live by it. But this, picking up the phone in his power, in his presence, to call a recruit's dad and say, back out of Georgia and go to Nebraska, I think it's a fireable offense, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. Here's my guess. He'll lie. Grown men lie daily. Grown men in power lie daily. Look at Roger Goodell with his address a couple of days away. I can't wait to hear Jay Monahan next month at the Players. He's already got his lies scripted. when he's going to be asked about the merger and he's going to be asked about money and blood money. I mean, Jay Monahan's going to have everything written right there in front of him. He's got to lie, right? Grown men in power lie. I'm not even going to get into politics. My guess is Kirk Herbstreit is going to deny this. Even Paul Feinbaum just did an interview and came out. Let me find this. This is really interesting. Here's a quote from Feinbaum. I guess he was he was on the McAfee show. Let me see here. Paul Feinbaum, yada, 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 yada. All right. Here's what McAfee said. I believe this was on Feinbaum. Quote from Paul Feinbaum. Quote, listen, I used to defend Herbstreit without even thinking. But I'm not going to do that until I know information. Being objective, this is really a bad look for Herbstreit. He goes on to say that he needs more information, yada, yada, yada. Why has he gone down this road? We're so blessed with phenomenal play-by-play talent. JJ and I had a show on this a couple of weeks ago. I think we're really lacking right now in color analyst work, okay? Outside of John Smoltz, who was outstanding, okay? Eddie Olchuk, who I love. And that's hockey, so that's fringe. That eliminates a lot of you. Tony Romo gets destroyed. Kirk Herbstreit gets destroyed. Troy Aikman is a whiner. He shows up the day of the game or the night before the game. He's already, just after 1 year at ESPN, had the executive producer and director fired after 25 years, switched it up with the college football executive producer and director because his telestrator wasn't working and Troy was complaining. And then, it came out that he didn't get there. He takes his personal Learjet. Doesn't get there, a couple of days before, like everyone does in the broadcast world. Troy's got his own set of rules. Well, he changed people's lives after his very first year. You got the Greg Olsen situation, dropping from $10 million a year to $3 million a year because here comes Tom Brady, who's going to make $37.5 million a year. What in the hell is Tom Brady going to tell us, football fans, that is worth $37.5 million a year? I mean, he better script every little thing that happens before it does. So, again, I think we're missing great color analyst work. I think we have the best play-by-play that we've ever had. I really believe that. And now you enter Herbstreit. Man, he's got everything right there. He's such a powerful voice in college football. I don't know why they paired him up with Al Michaels. I mean, honestly, is Dr. Herbie ever told you one thing in an NFL game that you, as a meat and potatoes football fan, was like, wow, that's a great point there by Dr. Herbie? The answer to that question is no. So he is there to provide analysis and insight and information and projection and 3rd and 1 pass, 3rd and 1 run, 4th and 1 punt, 4th and 1. I mean, that's what you do, right? Picking up the phone, calling a 5-star recruit's dad. Come on, people. I don't care how much of a fan you are. I don't care how much of a supporter you are. This is egregious. This is awful. This, in my opinion, is probably the worst thing that a man in this particular situation can do. And I got to believe it's going to register with this listening audience. There's a ton of Dog fans out there. There's also a ton of Dog haters out there. There's a ton of Gator fans. The Gators have been number one, telling Florida State 63-3, telling Florida State they never should have gone. Okay, we've done that. That's over. Has this affected me in the way that I feel about Kirk Herbstreit? Yeah, but come on. I changed my tune on this man when he told us all that there would be no football 4 years ago. If you listen to this show regularly, I do thank you, but you know I have been all over Dr. Herbie because I think he has told us that he is a complete fraud. And he thinks he's so above everyone else in the game. All right, we're very interested in what we get from this tonight. I do have a couple of scheduled things. A lot of NFL stuff tonight, the very latest on the draft and the Jaguars with Cody Carpenter. Does a really good job with Roster Watch covering the NFL draft. He was at the Senior Bowl last week. And again, it feels like it's corners and maybe a wide receiver that Jacksonville is going to get at number 17. I disagree with all of that. I think they need to get bigger and stronger in the ditch. I want offensive line. If you go defensive line, I'll be okay with it, but I want offensive line. I want to outscore opponents here in town. I want to win games 31-28. You don't do that by fixing your defense. You do that by fixing your offense. Hey, Baloo, this year's Super Bowl between Kansas City and San Francisco, a couple of top 5 defenses. Good point. Still going to go with the offense. Yeah, we've seen some Super Bowls. We saw Brady's last one in New England, a laugher. We saw Manning's last one in Denver, a laugher. Defensive struggles, right? Offenses kind of just making their way through it. But I still believe year after year after year after year, give me the team that can score. Give me the team that's around 30 a game. And that's where Jacksonville wanted to be this year. They wanted to improve it by 5 points, get up to around 29 a game. They didn't. They shaved points off from what they did in 2022. So we'll do that. We'll also go live to Las Vegas a little bit later on in the program, checking with our good buddy, the Philly Godfather, the very latest on the money there, plus some props, which the Philly Godfather is an expert in. Speaking of experts, when it comes to your eyes, let me give you Shmunez. Shmunez Vision. Go online. Shmunez Vision. Everything that can be about your eyes, this is your one stop. Sure, an update, right? Get your eyes checked. You need a new prescription. No doubt about it. That's a major part of all this. But what about other issues? Just ask yourself right now, your eyes weaker driving home after a full day of work? Do you notice that you're watching TV and all of a sudden it's blurry? Or even when you put your readers on and you look at your phone or you're reading a book, it's not the way it once was. Sleeping in contacts is absolutely the worst thing you can do. You know what it's like late at night when you're looking for your glasses or looking for your readers. I wish I was a candidate for laser eye surgery. More than 30 years worth of experience. I'm not. I'm not, because I had surgery on my right eye 8.5 years ago. Just going in for a normal checkup, Dr. Neil Shmunez found something that needed to be removed immediately. He performed surgery the next day. I've never had a setback. This is all a part of what they do. You need to trust the right individuals when it comes to dealing with your eyes. Those individuals are the great doctors at Shmunez Vision. Check them out online. Go to shmunezvision.com. All right, we are jam-packed. My goodness, I just can't believe this, man. I mean, Kirk's like his own little mob. He's like the boss. He's the godfather. He's consigliere. He's the underboss. He's the capo. He's the soldier. He's the hitman. He does it all. He is Dr. Herbie. It is his world. We merely live in it.
They sacrifice so much.
Hey, I never finished college, and look how I turned out. What's up?
To bring you so little.
Oh, easy. What's with the personal attacks?
And they do it every day. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser are The Drill. Mornings on 1010XL.
Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Frank Frangie here. They're committed to providing the best selection of Buicks and GMCs for you to choose from with a best price guarantee. Nimnick has been in business for over 81 years because they've been doing business the right way. Stop by Nimnick Buick GMC on Phillips Highway, just south of I-295, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com. That's Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
1010XL's coverage of National Signing Day is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning Services, proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Listen for updates all day on 1010XL.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. I know Honda, they're so cool on the road and off the road, but guess what? Tell them about them being on the water.
There is an all-new Honda boat coming out. We went out and partnered with Scout, who's been making the finest holes in the business for years. They're fuel efficient, dynamic, and class leading.
So Honda is in the boat business, and you will see boats coming to Cycles of Jacksonville soon.
We will have them in the spring, ready to go.
CyclesofJacksonville.com. Keep track of all of it. Find them on Atlantic near Regency.
Good people drink good beer, and great people drink Mokama, a refined craft brewery out of Fernandina Beach, Florida. Mokama Beer Company brings sophisticated flagship beers, including Cosmico IPA and Dune Garden Lager, to the greater Jacksonville area. Whether you're hitting the water with friends or enjoying a backyard barbecue, Mokama has the perfect beer for your summer activities. Look for us wherever great beers are sold and find your Mokama.
Have you heard? 1010XL talk shows are on demand.
If you can't catch your favorite show on 1010XL, you can always catch it on demand
at 1010XL.com.
Brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Win cash prizes at UnderdogFantasy.com.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and $2.95.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. The Chiefs and 49ers are gearing up for an epic showdown in Las Vegas, and you've got a front row seat with MyBookie. Whether you're aiming to cash in on the big game or just looking to have a good time with friends, MyBookie brings a true Vegas experience straight to you. With a huge selection of pregame bets, you can wager on everything from the opening coin toss to the color of Taylor Swift's sweater. MyBookie is a platform that offers something for everyone. You don't need to be a pro to turn sports and pop culture knowledge into real cash in your wallet. Sign up, make your first deposit today using promo code 1010XL, and choose from a variety of welcome offers to find one that suits your playstyle. You've got options. If you're itching for a sportsbook and casino that amplifies the thrill and maximizes your winnings, MyBookie is your MVP. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere from MyBookie. Don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
This is Hayes Carlyon for QC Kinetics. Are you sick and tired of achy joints? Look, you need to call QC Kinetics today. They've got 2 great locations, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra Beach. Give them a call for a free consultation at 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. Look, the state of healthcare is always changing. It's evolving, and old ideas like steroids and surgery, they're no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative non-surgical drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, arthritis, injury. Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Give them a call today, QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
All right, a ton rolling in on the text line. That's 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Much more on Dr. Herbie and this unforgivable phone call, if in fact true, telling the 5-star Dylan Raiola to go from Georgia to Nebraska, calling his daddy. Imagine that. We'll continue to get updates on it. interesting enough, Herbie's gone silent. Nothing from him since the story has come out. We'll track that, but obviously around here, that's only part of what is going on. It's Super Bowl week. We just got through Senior Bowl week, which was the final college football game of the season. Cody Carpentier does an outstanding job as an NFL draft analyst with Roster Watch, and he was there in Mobile, and he goes into the night with Rick Ballou. Cody, I appreciate a few minutes. How you doing?
Rick, my man, how you doing, brother? I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I'm doing really well, and, there's so many mock drafts that are out, and, we're 77, 78 days out, and I read them all, and I see the Jaguars again, a cornerback, every once in a while a wide receiver. That's not where I'm going here, Cody. I think the offensive line in Jacksonville, the interior offensive line, has been just awful, so I want that to be addressed right out of the gate at 17. The guy I want to ask you about is Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. I know he left Thursday halfway through it with a hamstring injury, but my understanding, he was dominant before that happened.
Jackson Powers Johnson from the jump from Oregon was fantastic. He was clear-cut the best center in Mobile, and coming in, that was the conversation, was, is he going to take that step and make it clear-cut? And he did. Zach Frazier is a guy from West Virginia who wanted to be in that conversation, but Jackson Powers, the first couple of days of practice, looked very good, looked dominant, and he's been training up there in Frisco with OL Masterminds and Duke Manyweather. So he's got the right trajectory going right now, and he's looking like a first-round pick for sure.
Only 1 year at center. He's a former guard at Oregon, so not a lot of experience. 12 or 13 games? How much of an effect does that have?
Not a ton. So these interior guys, it's a little different, I would say, than the tackles. The tackles, generally, you hear some guys are good at transitioning from maybe a left side to a right side. Some guys, most guys generally aren't. But the interior guys, center guard, I have a feeling I would venture to say most played both growing up in high school and in Pee Wee. So I don't think it's that big of a difference for a guy of this nature.
Yeah, all you got to do is go back and look at the AFC Championship game in both Baltimore and Kansas City. Starting centers, first-round picks, day one starters as rookies, and both really flourishing in the NFL. I know it's not a quote-unquote sexy pick. Fans want skill guys. Fans want pass rush ends, cover corners. What are your thoughts on this with Jacksonville, who used a third-rounder for Luke Fortner 3 years ago? It has not gone well. Luke has struggled in every phase as a center. What do you believe about going in that direction in the first round?
I think it's always a great idea to build from the inside out. I heard you allude to that a little bit earlier. All these teams are a little different, whether they want to build from the outside in or inside out. And most successful general managers in the league will tell you building inside out is the best way to do it. And you can see just by this Super Bowl matchup right here, right now, you can see the defensive line and offensive line of the Chiefs and the 49ers has really helped them get there. Now, the Niners do have talent on the outside, but they built it from the inside out since day one. And I think that's something Jacksonville can kind of take advantage of. Again, you got two good tackles there, but like you mentioned, that interior has kind of been a struggle. They went and traded for Ezra Cleveland. I know he's a free agent this year. Tyler Shatley, free agent. And Luke Fortner didn't really quite pan out to that extent. So I do think the center guard position is a definite need. The Calvin Ridley thing, I kind of have a question about. I haven't really delved into that. If he returns or not, I guess I could ask you that question. But then also I'm looking at on the defensive line as well for Jacksonville.
Cody Carpentier, our guest. He is an NFL draft analyst with Roster Watch. He goes into the night with Rick Ballou. The game has changed. I'm aware of that. But when I was covering this team in the 90s, to me it was all about that offensive line. It was the identity of the club. I mean, a crafty guy like Wydell, a Ben Coleman, Pro Bowlers like Leon Searcy and Tony Baselli. There's no meanness on this offensive line. There's no nasty on this offensive line. I'd like to think that they got a little bit of it out of Anton Harrison last year. I think he could develop. I know it's somewhat of an unfair question because you're watching film study and what have you. It's not like you're there covering Oregon day in, day out. But do you believe Jackson Powers Johnson is a guy who can bring that to this football team?
I think he can bring enough to enhance the position. Saying he's got that next level nasty, that Quentin Nelson from Indianapolis, that type of nasty that can take that entire offensive line to the next level. I wouldn't say he's quite got that trait in him, but I do think he's got the talent trait where it's just going to all around bring everybody together for sure.
All right, interesting. I think that's a, for me, that's a big part of all of this, trying to identify a couple of things there with a selection. Now, not always a center will go that high, a guard will go that high. Typically, it is a tackle, and around here, we don't know if it's going to be a re-signing or a restructuring of Cam Robinson at left tackle. Is it going to be Walker Little in his final year at left tackle? Are you going to flip Anton Harrison from right tackle to left tackle, or maybe draft a tackle? So my understanding is, there was some improvement at the Senior Bowl as well. This is going to be one of the best offensive tackle classes as a group that we've seen in the draft in a few years.
100%. And the rumblings right now, and especially coming out of the Senior Bowl, was we're looking at breaking the record for most tackles drafted in round 1, which is the number set at 7 right now. And there's a real opportunity for 8 to go. In a situation like this in Jacksonville, it would take a team like Jacksonville to take one to get us to that number 8 number. A couple guys that were down there in Mobile for the Senior Bowl, Tyler Guyton, speaking of Oklahoma tackles, and Anton Harrison. If you moved Anton Harrison to the left side, you could bring in Tyler Guyton to play that right side. He's a little bit of a leaner upper body guy, but the projections all lead to believe he's a top 20 pick in this draft right now. Another guy that's really gotten a lot of helium is Talisia Fuaga from Oregon State. He's probably going to be a little bit out of reach for what Jacksonville's looking at right now, but it was just a great group of tackles down there in Mobile. And even a later on guy, Christian Jones, a guy you could probably get in the late 3rd or the 4th round that has traits. He's out of Texas, and he's a really solid right tackle that can grow into a position.
Talking with Cody Carpentier, joining us tonight on Into the Night with Rick Ballou, NFL draft analyst. You can get everything by going to Roster Watch, and you can also get him online. Just go to @CodyCarpentier. That's Tier on Twitter and/or X. All right, you were there all week, and you've seen the mocks. You have your analysis on this as well. What do you believe Jacksonville should do at 17 if it's not an offensive lineman?
I think the receiver thing I brought up a minute ago with Calvin Ridley is a question. Right, they traded for him. Can I ask you this question at the top? Do you think they re-signed Calvin Ridley?
I think it's. I do. And the reason why I do is this. I think Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson have to win to keep their job. If they went to the playoffs and lost, and they were in no danger of losing their jobs, I think maybe they would move on and do some other things because. He didn't impress. He had no yak. He had no yards after catch. He was underweight. He missed assignments, ran wrong routes, dropped balls. It was not a good year for Calvin Ridley. But I think Trent Baalke right now is going to make a decision and decisions that will save his job for 2025. So, yeah, my guess is that Calvin Ridley returns.
That's interesting because that's like, of course, that's one that everyone wants to point to is the wide receiver position. And I do think if they don't bring him back, again, Ridley's going into his age 30 season year. He turns 30 in December. I think a couple of guys are interesting in that spot that can really take this team, or I should say this offense, to kind of another level because of their speed and their down playability. That's Troy Franklin out of Oregon and Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. I prefer Franklin of the two guys. He's kind of built like a Devonta Smith up there in Philadelphia, a little bit taller, a little bit more dynamic. But if you're talking about building inside out, it's got to start at that inside position. I like a Graham Barton out of Duke to play guard. He can play a little bit of center. And then on the defensive side of the football, if a Byron Murphy does make it to 17, he's got a lot of helium too. Very talented defensive tackle, out of Texas. I think if he's there at that 17th spot, that has to be weight as well.
All right, last question for you, Cody. If it is wide receiver, whether it's first round or later on, obviously the Wrigley decision will be either a second or third round pick that they're going to have to sacrifice. Big body guys. Trevor Lawrence always had big body wide receivers at Clemson. He doesn't have a big body wide receiver in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, and I think that was one little interaction we had after the Senior Bowl. I put up a little top 10 rank, and I left out a couple of Florida State guys. And Johnny Wilson's definitely a guy. You're looking at round 4, round 5, and those rankings I did put up over there at X were just based on that event. It's not like that's how I grade Johnny Wilson going into the NFL draft or anything like that. But I think Wilson does bring traits a little bit differently than even a Keon Coleman does, where you're going to get a value with the Johnny Wilson type in round 4 at 6'7", 235 pounds. And being the athletic freak he is, he averaged almost a full yard per route run more than Keon Coleman did in games played with him this past season. I also think there's a couple of other guys that did compete down there at the Senior Bowl that you're looking at. You could be looking at a Brendan Rice out of USC in the 3rd round. These are 6'2", 215, 220 pounds from Brendan Rice. Brendan Rice also, of course, the son of Jerry Rice, a physical guy with a big body and a big frame that I think goes alongside the Zay Joneses, the Christian Kirks, and Parker Washingtons very well.
Yeah. All right. Interesting stuff. Get everything at Roster Watch. Follow Cody Carpentier. Just go to X and/or Twitter. It's at Cody Carpentier, Tier, and you can get everything right there. NFL Draft Analyst with Roster Watch. Great stuff, Cody. Looking forward to doing it again.
Rick, I appreciate you, man. Best of luck.
Take care. There he goes. All right. I like it. Any fresh opinion we can get based on the Senior Bowl and spending a week out there evaluating everything and just getting a little bit closer to the draft is, is very interesting to me. There are so many mock drafts that are out there, and I bet I've read, no exaggeration, I bet I've read 40 of them, and I just have a difficult time being satisfied with what I've seen so far. Before we head to this break, let me find this for you. This was yesterday's two-rounder. It was ESPN Insider. Who's the guy who replaced McShay? He basically does it all in print. You mentioned his name the other day, JJ. Do you remember who we were talking about?
No.
And I told you I thought at one point he was a Florida State beat writer. And
Reed?
Yeah, I think it was Reed who created a two-round mock on ESPN's Insider. And at 17, he's got a DB, he's got a corner, in Ennis Raestra out of Missouri. Okay, obviously a huge name here. Missouri's all about the SEC. I mean, people just driving around town bragging about Missouri in the SEC. So you go in there in the first round. All right. Darius Williams, final year of his contract. Tyson Campbell, final year of his contract. A lot of people think Darius Williams could be cut. You could recoup $11 million, eat only $500,000 in dead cap money by saying goodbye to Darius Williams. I wouldn't make that move. But we also know with a change coming in defensively, it's going to be more of a press-style defense. It's going to be more of a man-to-man coverage-style defense. Is Darius Williams in a position where he's hurt in that type of coverage, where he had more success in zone? These are all things that you need to consider. And then in the second round, selection number 48, the Jaguars, Roman Wilson, wide receiver out of Michigan. So those are obvious needs when you look at the roster. But I don't believe it's filling the greatest need. That's the offensive line. Trevor Lawrence spoke. He spoke to Kay Adams, spoke to the NFL Network. He's making the rounds. Some interesting stuff from Trevor. We're going to play a little bit of that for you coming up. We're also going to go live to Las Vegas and hear from the Philly Godfather. We'll take a look at how things have been so far this week at the window and a couple of interesting props. The Philly Godfather has a really good track record on proposition wagers year in, year out, right there at, the Super Bowl. So we'll get some of his prop plays as well coming up as we get things rolling right here on a Wednesday night. It's good to have you with us. You want to comment on anything that you've heard us talk about so far? Again, a lot on Dr. Herbie, 641-1010 on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. And from here all the way up until the draft, it's never a bad time to ask a draft question. If I don't know it myself, I'll go find out and ask the very next day. I just love it. I think it's tough to build in the middle. When you're 9-8, you're 9-8 a year ago, you win a playoff game. You don't really hear much about it, right? You're 9-8 this year, you don't make the playoffs. All of a sudden, you're kind of like the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA every year, where you're around 500, but you're never really good enough to move up. Atlanta was in that category for a very long period of time. Don't get me wrong. I don't want the Jaguars selecting first every year, but you're kind of in a deal where with the 17th pick, you'd like to have at least 3, if not 4, quarterbacks go For every quarterback who goes ahead of you, that allows Jacksonville another opportunity to get the best position player on their board, and that's really important. So, I don't know if a running back's going to go ahead. I don't know if obviously they don't need a running back right now, although some, I guess, would argue with that. I'm going to disagree. I still think Tank Bigsby will be okay behind ETN. But, you'd like to be set at a few positions outside of quarterback, where if guys come off the board at that position, you're okay with it. You understand what I'm trying to get at? But all of a sudden, this football team, really, no matter what position group you go to, outside of quarterback and running back and tight end, I get a lot on tight end, which I don't understand. Why? I mean, you used Brenton Strange in the second round. You used to pick to get him. And then, of course, you redid Evan Ingram. And you've got Luke Farrell as a blocking tight end. That's, to me, outside of quarterback and running back, that's the one position group that I'm not touching, tight end. Yeah, just my opinion. You can offer up yours as well. 641-1010, that's the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
1010XL is your home for Jacksonville University basketball.
The Dolphins are back at Swisher Gym against Central Arkansas tomorrow night at 7 on 1010 AM.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet love our community. That's right, we spread the love by giving back, and every year we give hundreds of thousands of dollars to our local community. Plus, we give all our customers lots of love, too. Every new vehicle purchase comes with a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty, and every certified pre-owned vehicle comes with a 7-year, 100,000-mile loving warranty. Plus, we give the most loving for your trade. Help us to continue to spread the love and head to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you and give back.
At Edwin Watts Golf Shops, there's something that binds us all. The collective goal to transcend the ordinary. Introducing the all-new TaylorMade QI10 Max Driver, combining TaylorMade distance with the forgiveness of 10K inertia. Experience your drives in 10K. Visit us in-store for a free custom fitting at your local Edwin Watts Golf Shops, or shop us online at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
You know, many plumbers won't quote prices over the phone and instead charge a service fee for an in-home estimate. Of course, because they know once they're in your home, you're probably not going to send them away. But Roland Reach Plumbing is different. Roland will give you a price quote over the phone. And there's never a trip charge or service fee for an estimate. So if you've got a leak and can't wait a week and don't like paying unnecessary fees, call on Roland Reach Plumbing at plumbingjacksonville.com.
Listen up, poker players. The Run Good Poker Series is coming to Best Bet Jacksonville from March 14th to the 24th. The Run Good Poker Series features 10 poker events, including the $1,200 No-Limit Hold'em main event with a $300,000 guaranteed prize pool. And event number 1, $400 No-Limit Hold'em with a $100,000 guarantee. Win your way into the tournament through satellite starting March 2nd and running throughout the month at Best Bet Jacksonville. Check out the Run Good Series structures and details at bestbetjacks.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 7, 2010, in Super Bowl 44, the Saints beat the Colts 31-17. MVP Drew Brees as he completes 32 of 39 passes for 2 touchdowns.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Shaking things up a bit. Let's see what Carlo has to say.
The biggest thing that I received out of this Awaken 180 program was that I was able to get a best friend. And when I say that, I mean the person that I look to in the mirror every morning. I would walk by the mirror and not look. Now, the Awaken 180 program has given me the ability to look in the mirror, smile, and actually enjoy and appreciate the person I am. I went from, 301 down to 213. I've lost 84 pounds with Awaken 180.
84 pounds, and Carlo did it in under 4 months. Those, my friends, are the results you'll get with Awaken 180. Do what Carlo did, I did, Mike Dempsey, and hundreds of others in Jacksonville have done. Get back to liking the person you see in the mirror and choose Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Barry Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back on the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BarryOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BarryOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Visit Monahan Jewelers now through Valentine's Day for savings on all GIA certified diamonds and discounts store-wide up to 40% off. And interest-free financing on all purchases. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. Monahan's has it all. We're not a chain store. We're your local family jeweler since 1977 with a world-class inventory of fine jewelry and diamonds and gemstones available in any size. Support your local family jeweler now through Valentine's with huge savings on our inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Dave Binion here with my son Ammon, who is the air duct cleaning manager at Zero Res. So Ammon, you may notice a little rattle in my voice and some puffiness in my eyes. That's because allergy season is coming on. Can Zero Res help?
Yes, your health has a lot to do with the air you breathe. A clean and healthy home begins with clean air. At Zero Res, we can help clean the air in your home by cleaning your air ducts, cleaning the coils in your HVAC units, and fogging the system with a powerful antimicrobial that helps kill and control the growth of microorganisms in your air. We also have options for maintaining your clean air with our excellent inline air purifier and UV lights that will help keep your system clean and healthy. At Zero Res, we are more than just air duct cleaners. We're a clean air specialist.
So, what deals do you have this month?
Right now, get $100 off your air duct cleaning, and while we're at it, we'll give you $50 off your dryer vent cleaning.
Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, our text line. I can't believe there was actually a time when we did radio without it. We are so interactive. Ballou and LaSelva. We love the text line. 641-1010 brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. The 5262, I'm not going to tell who we were talking about, but he just asked me to go complete Martin Sheen in Apocalypse Now. He asked me to do this. He said, your mission is to travel by John boat from Palatka up to the day of the game to the St. John's, to the bank, and terminate yada yada with extreme prejudice. And that's exactly what is said to Martin Sheen when he is asked to go murder Marlon Brando. Again, I won't fill in the name. I won't do it. I'm just not going to put myself in that position. JJ LaSelva is on the other side tonight, as he is each and every night. How are you?
I'm good.
It's good stuff coming up here from Trevor and Kay Adams in our second hour. As a matter of fact, I want to play a little of this right now. Before we get to it, though, and this is year 4, what's your opinion on quarterback in their say on a roster?
I would never take their advice or ask their advice unless they were like Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes.
Thank you. Tom Brady should have had some say in New England. Peyton Manning should have had some say in Indianapolis.
Peyton, of course.
Dan Marino in Miami. Pat Mahomes right now in Kansas City. I think your comments and your opinion and your knowledge is warranted when you are that successful. Trevor Lawrence is 20-28 as a starting quarterback. It was a setback this year. I'm not one of those that's saying it's never going to work here. I'm still thumbs up. I think he's going to turn the corner. Why do you think I'm openly complaining again? I've done it year after year after year after year. Fix the offensive line. You finally have a quarterback. Protect him. Trent Baalke's done a nice job getting him weapons. I mean, he used fringe picks on a tight end in the second round, and a running back on the third round. Guys barely played. They had tight ends and backs and wide receivers. Jacksonville had plenty of skill position players. They're just soft on the offensive line. Fix that. NFL Network asked, let's go to Kay Adams, who did ask Trevor Lawrence if he had any input on who the Jaguars would re-sign.
There's definitely conversations that I have with, Coach Peterson and Trent and whoever and Press and the offensive side that is about personnel and, guys I really like that, maybe that are up as free agents and want to come back or whatever it is, different things come up and they will ask me, and I think they do value my opinion, which is important to me. But I also know that I can't be the best quarterback I can be if I'm also trying to be the GM or the head coach. I think it is healthy to have some separation there. But no, we communicate, and I think we have a great relationship.
I think Trevor Lawrence, for the most part, says the right things. I believe that. And he's growing. He's only 24, folks. He's just 24. But I think he says the right stuff. I do. And I remember this past year, Press Taylor. I don't want to say Doug Peterson because I don't remember with 100% certainty. But I know Press Taylor talked about the offensive scheme, the game plan, in that he said at one point, that if Trevor doesn't like a play, he'll say, no, I don't like that play. And they'll throw it out. That's good coaching. That's a good relationship, okay? There's so much of this. I thought Jimbo Fisher was the main culprit with this. Jameis Winston got it. No one else got it. No one got it at Florida State. No one got it at Texas A&M. Even though first-rounders were produced, Christian Ponder and E.J. Manuel, Jimbo was so hard-headed that he would say, I have the best offense in America, and you better learn how to run it. Where great coaches are going to look at the team that they have and say, we can't do it this way with the personnel we have. We have to make some changes, and that's going to be the case here with Ryan Nielsen in this defense. He can't run this defense the way the way that he did run as a co-defensive coordinator 2 years ago in New Orleans. He's not going to be able to run it the way he ran it this past year in Atlanta. You've got to change with the personnel that you have. And I do think that the quarterback, when he is your franchise quarterback, now if you're going from Nick Foles to Blake Bortles to Mike Glennon and Gardner, when you're going through that, even though I guess they did pay Bortles and Foles franchise money, two enormous mistakes, right? But when you go from quarterback to quarterback to quarterback like that, no. But when you have a first-round pick and you know he's going to be your quarterback, you've got to have that relationship. And whether it's Calvin Ridley, whether it's Luke Fortner, whether it's Cam Robinson, whether it is Zay Jones, Brandon Sheriff, and I don't expect Trevor to be knee-deep in their salary cap numbers and the dead money and all that. But your opinion, do you think he should be back? Do you think we're better off going in a different direction? He's the one guy on this offense that I think you can do that with. And I think a lot of teams do that with. Let's get ready to go to Las Vegas. Let's do that. Coming up right here on the other side. We'll check in with the Philly Godfather. He is all over the place in Las Vegas, and he is going to give us the very latest, not only on the game, but also on some props. I do want to tell you that tonight's show is brought to you by Patriot Roofing Services, specializing in all types of commercial and residential roofing and repairs, gutters, sun tubes, skylights. Just give my buddy Mark Tizzolo a phone call, 982-4052, or better yet, go online. Patriot Roofing, 10-year workmanship warranty, licensed and insured, no subcontractors. You deal strictly with Mark at 982-4052. So whether it's your business or your home, a new roof or repairs, just go to Patriot Roofing. We got much more to do. Hour number 2, we begin by going to Las Vegas, and we'll bring in the Philly Godfather.
This is 1010XL.
Go Gators. Go Gators. Go Gators.
Your Gator Nation radio station. Go Gators.
1010XL's coverage of National Signing Day is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning Services, proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Listen for updates all day on 1010XL.
Local 234 Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and HVAC Technicians is now taking applications for their state-certified apprenticeship program. As an apprentice, you'll receive excellent benefits, higher pay, job placement, and even earn college credit. The 5-year programs include plumbing, pipe fitting, welding, and HVAC. A career as a journeyman means stability and security. For more information, visit ua234.com/apprenticeship. Local 234. Make the right connection.
This is former NFL quarterback David Garrard. If your knees have taken a beating and you're finally ready to do something about it, then let Southeast Orthopedic take a look. Come on, do your knees a favor.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Northeast Florida's highest-rated residential home electrical contractor is American Electrical, providing unsurpassed quality in Duval, St. Johns, Clay, and Nassau counties. No matter your electrical problem or project, large or small, American Electrical will get it done at a price that's right. High-quality electrician, that's who they are. Trust a company that's been on the First Coast for decades, proudly serving the community while being a big part of the community. Call American Electrical for all your electric needs at 737-7770. Wired right at a fair price.
WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Warm weather means the beach, fishing, golf, and more. Make sure to drop into Daly's and grab a cold case to go. From Bud Light to their seltzer, from Mick Ultra to Modelo, or your favorite crafts like Gold City or Sweetwater. Grab and go at your local Daly's.
He's not Pistol Pete, he's Pete Prisco.
Been on the wanted list almost 20 years.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins The Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
When the sun goes down, you might think a golf course shuts down, but not at the Golf Club of Southampton. Join the gang every Thursday night for trivia with Brooke and Jason, and everybody's favorite night, Friday night on the patio, featuring local musicians, food, and drink. It's all at the Golf Club of Southampton. Great golf. You've come to expect that. But don't forget, when night falls, the fun doesn't stop. Trivia every Thursday night and Southampton's live music patio session Fridays. Call 287-PLAY to make a tee time and the good time.
If you have had problems selling your home or haven't even bothered selling because of the problems that you would expect, here's a promise for you. Chad and Sandy of chadandsandy.com guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Simple as that, right? So if maybe you are worried about selling for less money, or maybe you want maximum equity from your home but not sure how, they have the answers, the solutions, the promises to take care of all that. Take it from Debbie in Orange Park. I was going through a divorce and needed to be close to family quickly. I was going to sell my home to an instant offer investor for $375, but I heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and decided to call. Thank goodness. Chad and Sandy got me $45,000 more in just 3 days. Call the only agents we're trusting and recommending. Call Chad and Sandy at chadandsandy.com. The number is 904-414-6200, or you can go to chadandsandy.com. That's chadandsandy.com.
Hi, this is Carrie, the office coordinator at the dental practice of Dr. James J. McCall. Dr. McCall, along with me and my fellow team members, are committed to making your visit to the dentist a pleasant one. From scheduling, filing insurance, or reviewing treatment options, you're always our number one priority. When we say join our dental family, we believe it in our hearts. If you are looking for a dentist in a warm and relaxed atmosphere, call the dental office of Dr. McCall at 620-9225.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Super Bowl 58 live from Las Vegas. Let's check in live with the Philly Godfather. Hello, Mr. Godfather.
Hey, Rick, what's going on, man? We're out here at Radio Row in Las Vegas. I've been betting all week. It's a great time out here.
Yeah, it is, and I've been following you as I have for years on Twitter. It looks like you're having yourself an outstanding time.
Yeah, the food's unreal. I mean, it's unparalleled in the whole country. You got to go to Italy or Greece or Spain to get the kind of restaurant food you get out here, and everyone's just so nice this week.
It's interesting you talk about the food, man. Well, you come from the food's good. Food's good up east, Boston, New York, Philadelphia.
Yeah, but this is the best of the best. It can only be as good as Las Vegas. It can't be better.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, your thoughts on the game now? Because I know you have a tremendous amount of success with props, but just the game itself, it stayed around 1.5, maybe a 2, depending on where you shop. Do you expect it to stick there? Do you see any late movement before kick on Sunday?
Originally opened up actually 3, San Fran -3 for like a New York minute. And there was some sharp money that took the +3 on Kansas City. It's so hard to bet against Mahomes. Pushed that line down to 1. And then a really big sports betting syndicate that I respect placed $1 million wager on San Fran -1 and pushed that line back to 2, where it currently sits almost everywhere in Vegas and around the country. This is a tough game to handicap. I always tell people all the time, you can't really quantify greatness. And for years, Tom Brady, you bet against Tom Brady, you went broke. And it seems that way with Patrick Mahomes. Now, I haven't bet the full game side yet. I'm still reading on the game, but I did bet San Francisco -0.5 point in the first half. And for the reason being is they've only trailed 3 times all season going into halftime. And in 2 of those games, they were banged up on the offensive side and defensive side. The other time was against Baltimore, where the score was 13-12 before Kansas City kicked the field goal right before halftime. But if you guys remember, Purdy threw 2 interceptions in the first half of that game. So this team likes to come out fast. They like to come out quick. And I think they jump ahead early. Now, what happens in the second half is a completely different story. But I like San Francisco -0.5 point in the first half.
All right, first half -0.5 point. Very interesting. I mean, I think a lot of people are just going to look at this game and say, it's Patrick Mahomes and it's Brock Purdy. And I know San Francisco's got phenomenal talent, skill position players on offense, a good line, and very good defense. But how much of that have you looked at directly? Just simply Mahomes against Purdy?
Yeah, I mean, as great as Mahomes is, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen, when Brock Purdy starts a football game with Deebo Samuel and McCaffrey on the football field, they're 15-1 with an average margin of victory of almost 16 points. So I know he's a young quarterback, and people say, well, if he leaves the 49ers, he won't be as good. But guess what? He's on this team. And this is how, he's been outperforming the market. He's been playing great all season. Now, they haven't looked great against the Packers and Detroit in the playoffs. But if you look at two teams that Kansas City lost to this year, they lost to the Packers and Detroit. I mean, people don't realize how good those offenses were. Detroit ranked 3rd overall in yards per play metric, and Green Bay came in 6th. And if Green Bay wasn't so banged up early in the season, I mean, they might have done more damage. So this is, people want to talk about the greatness of Mahomes, but as a quarterback with Deebo and McCaffrey on the field, Brock Purdy's as good as anybody.
Philly Godfather joining us live from Radio Row in Las Vegas. Philly Godfather, give us your info out there, all our listeners, so they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. You can stop by the phillygodfather.com.
Totals, over-unders. This year, the numbers I have, you may have different ones. I have Kansas City with 6 overs, 14 unders. I have San Francisco, a much different look, 11 overs, 8 unders. The feeling is if it goes over, it's San Francisco. If it goes under, it's Kansas City. Are you buying into that?
No, I mean, these games can play on so many different ways. I mean, depending on what happens, the mistakes on the field. And we talked about it all season. Usually it's a turnover differential that dictates, who wins the game or if the game goes over, stays under. At 47.5, I haven't bet the total yet. I think the number's right there. And but what I do like is I like under 32.5 pass attempts for Brock Purdy, because if the 49ers are going to win this game, they're going to have to run the ball and run the ball successfully. That's going to chew up time on the clock. And then if they're up going into the fourth quarter like they have been most of the season, I think they've been going into the fourth quarter. Their average margin of lead is like 7.6 points. So I think they're going to have to run the ball again in the fourth quarter to hold on to that lead. So I don't think Purdy's going to pass as much. And that kind of tends towards the under a little bit, but I still haven't fired him totally.
All right. I like it. I like the way you're thinking here. Purdy under 32.5 pass attempts would mean an under, which, again, goes against what San Francisco has done. If you look at that trend, 11 up, 8 down this year. But as you pointed out, anything can happen. All right, Philly Godfather, leave us with a couple of props. I know you've been very successful. Do you mess around with the national anthem and the coin toss? You do any of that type of stuff, or are you strictly on the football field?
Oh, we used to get some information on the national anthem. I didn't get none this year. And props like that, unless you get the information, then you're just gambling. I'm not looking to gamble. The coin flip, obviously, 50-50 proposition, and if you're laying 110 to win 100, long term you're going to lose. But I love to tell everyone, tails never fails. It came through last year. For 4 years in a row, heads came through, and then last year tails came down. So if you want to have some fun, I don't know, you want to bet the tails, bet the tails. I do like Kittle over 45.5 receiving yards. I bet him alternate line over 70 yards plus 265. I think he has a big day, and the reason being is against blitz-happy teams like the Chiefs, he's averaging about 91 receiving yards per game. And last week, if you guys remember, Kansas City blitzed on 43.5% of Lamar Jackson's dropbacks. So if they come out with the same game plan trying to, disrupt Purdy a little bit, I think Kittle has a monster game. And I actually bet a flyer Kittle to have more receiving yards than Kelsey. It's a lottery ticket, but they're giving me 2-1 on my money, so I had to take it.
All right. I like that. Yeah, and if you can get those type of odds, why not? It's very little risk for quite a reward. You do anything else like final round of a player at the Phoenix Open compared to receiving yards for, I don't know, Kelsey or Deebo Samuel? Do you ever dive into those type of crossover sports?
Yeah, not really. Unless I got a real good golf handicapper. Like we had one a couple years back, and I don't handicap golf, but unless I got someone that really knows what they're doing. Now, I don't do none of the crossover stuff. I'm looking for positive expectation. I bet over 1.5 field goals for the Kansas City Chiefs kicker because they're averaging like 2.5 field goals a game. They're in a dome. No weather. He might decide to kick a 55-yarder. So I like that as well, over 1.5 field goals for Buckner.
Outstanding. Philly Godfather, what a year. Once again, please give your information out there to our listening audience.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. You can stop by the PhillyGodfather.com, and good luck, guys.
Philly Godfather, pleasure all year. Thank you as always.
Thank you so much.
There he goes. Busy man. So, I don't know. I JJ and I were talking about it a little bit yesterday. You really have to be disciplined if you're going to play these props, unless you're just having a fun time on it. And, you're putting $20 a prop. If you're not putting real money on it, if you're putting change on it, then, yeah, go and have some fun. But my way of looking at this, and I'm not betting, I haven't bet, I don't even have the slightest itch, okay? And it's I'm not lying. This is radio embellishment. I am not betting at all. There will be a time when I'll fall back in, but I thought it was going to be this year. I just don't have the spirit to get into it. I think I need to be alone. You know what I mean? The best gamblers are alone, right? You're just kind of miserable and on your own. You've lost your family. Maybe you've lost your job. Because most gamblers Most gamblers are miserable, and most gamblers are liars, right?
So you don't. What about like the square game?
No, I don't do anything. I don't even do our I don't even do our.
That's what I'm talking about. Like
college
at the
basketball.
office.
I don't even do our office pool in college basketball.
Yeah, me neither.
To me, it's like, hey, man, don't worry about becoming a drug addict. It's just marijuana, or you can't be an alcoholic. It's only beer. Right? It's like, okay, well, if I start diving in on playing squares, or if I start diving, then what if I have a little bit of, success? And, I guess this is easy. I'll get back in.
Maybe I'll put 1,000 on the coin toss now. I heard that the over-under for the national anthem is the shortest it's ever been. So I don't know if they're expecting, like most times, like Godfather said, they got somebody who's like, works at the lighting for the stadium or does the sound, and so they hear the warm-up. They know they've timed it out themselves. So somebody knows something about Reba. She's not going very long. It's 1 minute and 26 seconds is the over-under, which if that holds, that would be the shortest ever.
I was under the impression that the Philly Godfather had spoken directly with Reba.
It could have been that. He knows somebody, he said.
I love the fact that he said they had information a couple of years ago. I know you just said it, but that's great.
Oh, yeah. I've heard all kinds of stuff like that. I also think it's hilarious that he's like, we used to have a golf guy. He's no longer with us. But a syndicate put $1 million, which that's not the first time I've heard that over the last week and a half since, the line went out there, was the public is all on the Chiefs. The money is about even, I think, but the big money is on the Niners.
Who will be shown first? Joe Montana, 2-1. You got to give up 2-1. It's minus 200. Jerry Rice plus 150. Okay. And it's a straight-up head-to-head bet. The odds on Jerry Rice are way better. You lay down $100, you lay down $10, you get back 15. You got to lay down $20 to get 10.
It's probably the right odds, just because Joe Montana's more famous, and the whole Brock Purdy conversation. I mean, I've heard Joe Montana's name brought up so much in the last week, talking about Brock Purdy and what he said to Joe and vice versa, and he called me, and so I haven't really heard much about Jerry Rice.
What will be said first, GOAT or Mr. Irrelevant? GOAT is plus 400. Mr. Irrelevant minus 800. Mr. Irrelevant is guaranteed.
Yeah, that's why it's such bad odds.
That's not a good bet.
You wouldn't say GOAT. First of all, I don't see Tony or Jim saying that. That's definitely not a Jim thing to say, so it would have to be Tony. And then in that case, it would probably be at the very end of the game if he wins.
What will Romo say first, Mahomie or Showtime? I mean, some of these are really stupid.
Showtime.
And I do think
What's
that's
that a reference
I don't know. Is Showtime like Mahomes? Is that what they refer to him as?
I've never even heard that.
I mean, there's over 100 Taylor Swift props.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly think the best way to go about this would be to spend all week on it and just try to find one, and only one prop. It's so hard. But then again, is it?
I'll give you a really fun one.
Give me one.
That has hit the last couple years, the under. They always give you the same over-under for the shortest touchdown, and it's 1.5 yards. You're basically betting, will there be a 1-yard touchdown or not? And it's been hitting. Like the 1-yard touchdowns have been hitting the last couple of years. Pacheco got one last year. That's a fun one, because when you're down there in the red zone, man, for either team, you're cheering for like a PI in the end zone, which happens quite frequently. I love that one. I also love the one he gave out, the field goal prop.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The guy is money. Never misses a field goal, and he said it's in a dome. I also saw, will anyone hit the record, which is only 55 yards, Super Bowl record for a field goal.
This is nuts, okay? Which 49ers Chiefs player will get caught gambling in Las Vegas? Are you ready? The number one guy at plus 400?
Kelsey.
Kadarius Toney.
Oh, I should have guessed.
Deebo Samuel plus 500. Jake Moody plus 600. Kelsey and Kittle and Boza plus 800. It gets better. It gets better. Which 49ers or Chiefs player will be caught with an escort in Las Vegas? Jake Moody is plus. Imagine explaining this to your wife or girlfriend, that of all the players, you're the number one guy that by the way, Las Vegas, they're pretty good at this stuff.
They're like, we know something about him.
Jake Moody's one at plus 300. Then it's Nick Boza at plus 400. Harrison Butker, the kicker, plus 500. Then you go Deebo and Kittle at plus 6 and 800 respectively. Patrick Mahomes plus 1,200.
Never.
Wow.
The story would get out immediately.
You got McCaffrey at plus 2,000 and Travis Kelce at plus 2,500. I mean, Kelce's with Swift, and McCaffrey's with that Sports Illustrated pinup model girl.
Is he? I didn't realize that. Apparently, Vegas thinks the kickers are very sex deprived. And that's a shame. Because most of the time, these kickers have hot-ass girls.
I would think so, yeah.
Poor Jake Moody.
What's the name? Is it?
He's also terrible, by the way. If there is I'm sure there is a prop for Moody to miss a field goal. I'd love to see the odds on that.
Olivia
Munn?
No, it's Olivia Culpo. Olivia Munn, didn't she kind of go crazy? Wasn't she the one with Aaron Rodgers?
She was. Olivia Culpo is very.
I think she went cray-cray.
Very.
I'm not saying this. I've been told by others that a lot of them out there do that.
No comment. Yeah, she was Miss Rhode Island, excuse me. Very beautiful.
I saw one here about, here's an opportunity to make some money. Will an unauthorized person or streaker enter the end zone during the Super Bowl?
What about the field? I guess that also counts.
Or midfield logo. Yeah, there's two different props. You can pick end zone or you can pick.
Wow.
So
imagine betting on a guy to go on the field in the end zone, but he goes to the center and you lose.
Well, wasn't there a story a couple of years ago? I think it had like a trail back here, right? Was it someone ran on the field, someone offered him money, and he ran on the field? I don't remember.
Oh, that was they were sitting. Dilla was saying they were like sitting right in front of him, or maybe it was somebody on Jags Twitter.
Was it a Jags road game or something?
Or was it the Hall of Fame game? I don't even remember. A preseason or something, maybe the play. But they basically bet the guy like $500 or whatever that he wouldn't run on the field, and he did.
When we come back, Trevor Lawrence on Trent Baalke. Don't go away from that. And got some very exciting news on the PGA Tour.
Golf courses, beaches, and nonstop sports talk.
Amazing, isn't it?
No wonder so many people like to live here.
This is a wonderful thing.
1010XL, Jack Sports Radio.
Baloo for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Smoke and carbon monoxide detectors are two of the best life-saving investments for the safety of your family. Mr. Sparky will install the best unit for your home.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyoublow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
What's the weekend in sports look like? I'm Dan Hicken, and I'll give you my take on the Weekend with Dan. Find it on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan, brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Make someone's heart pop on Valentine's Day. Show your love with a bouquet of chocolate roses, chocolate-covered popcorn, or a box of decadent truffles. Peterbrook is taking pre-orders for chocolate-covered strawberries. So get your order in and get those hearts popping.
Looking for a new or used firearm?
Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Hicken here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Frank Frangie here. I was born and raised in Jacksonville, and I love living here. But I also know how bad bugs are in Florida. So I trust Orange Environmental Services to handle all my pest control needs because they've got the best technicians and effective treatment. Their name may be orange, but they think green. Orange Environmental has been serving the First Coast for over 50 years, and they now offer complete lawn maintenance services. Call Orange Environmental Services for peace of mind from bug problems today. Call them at 272-3284. That's 272-3284.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, frustrated taking pills that don't work. Here's a message from Prime Men's Medical Center.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough treatments with men lasting longer than ever without pain or surgery.
Call now. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results right in the office. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Exciting news from Leonard Truck Accessories in Jacksonville on Blanding Boulevard. Stocking brands like Real Truck, UWS, WeatherGuard, carry-on trailers, and more. The best deals with the best prices only at Leonard Truck Accessories on Blanding Boulevard. Leonard, your truck, your style.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Tell you what we're going to do here tomorrow and Friday. We're efforting. We'll try to get a Meet Patel on, and whoever he wagers on, we'll display the opposite. Well, I'll make a ton of cash. Mid-management finance manager. $22 million. Still, I mean, to me, that's the story of the year. I don't even know how to say anything. I mean, to me, it's just...
You know he's got a bet on the game in the clink.
There's no doubt. Pack of smokes.
He's a couple trays.
Some desserts.
Cornbread. Whatever.
He's got a couple of correctional officers already on the pad, right? They're getting at least 5%, maybe 10%. Actually reading a great book right now. It was written in 1990 about the Godfathers all infiltrating right around the same time to Vegas. And, you know, Bugsy Siegel got murdered. That was actually in L.A. They murdered him in L.A. They wanted to hit him in Vegas, but they didn't want to affect tourism. So they waited till we went back to the hills of Los Angeles, and they gunned him down. But you had... Chicago and New York. It was there for the taking. And it's just really intriguing. Kansas City was a big player in it. But, of course, Vegas now, who knows? what to make of Las Vegas. Absolutely everything. I was really disappointed what Joe Buck said yesterday. He's expecting like a major bad. I mean,
which is funny because Vegas is so like corporate now. You know, like, yeah, you can get in trouble there, but
you can get in trouble here.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's not like the Wild West out there where, you know, guys are just. I almost said something I shouldn't have, but let's just say it's pretty easy for these players not to get in trouble out there.
Mm-hmm. It's a business trip. How about Patrick Mahomes coming out today and say, this is a business trip. If we win, I'm going to take everyone back to Vegas. I mean, that's like horrifying. Can you, I mean, it's like, yeah, just win the Super Bowl because, you don't want to, trouble's
now, on
just
that
waiting.
trip, you might get in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
On the celebration of the Super Bowl.
Well, last year, the big trouble was Michael Irvin, and that was wrong.
Allegedly, he felt like he was wronged. He sued the hotel chain, and I haven't really heard anything about that.
But because of his track record,
yeah, of course,
he was immediately sent home. And the initial story was that Michael Irvin is assaulting or sexually assaulting or whatever. I think he sued for $100 million.
Good for him.
Remember the Warren Sapp prostitution story? That stuff happens all the time.
Now, did you see the guy in Vegas today who was all over the news? Nothing to do with prostitutes, drugs, or gambling. His name is Mason DeChamps. He's a pro-life activist, and he climbed the Sphere from the outside to the very top. Apparently he does this like he's like a professional climber, and he does it to raise money for charity or whatever, but my hands are sweating watching this guy.
Was he arrested? Now, did he do it illegally?
Sure. Oh, yeah. This is totally not legal to do. They were waiting for him, they came in through the ceiling to arrest him.
Just don't ruin it, because I'm seeing you two
exactly.
there. I'm seeing you two there in like 9 days.
Give it a few weeks. They've been the Sphere is showing all the Super Bowl rings of the last few years. Just looks so badass.
It was like I showed it to you. It was like $1,850 for 2 U2 tickets a week from Sunday. What do you think the tickets are going for
this weekend?
Underground with scalping, with the Super Bowl going on this week.
We're talking it's got to be 5 to 10 times what you paid, easy.
And I think that's a big corporate deal too. Let's go to the Sphere. Let's see. Let's see you too. I'm looking forward to it. I refuse to think on it now. I got to stay focused on the job. We got a job to do here tonight. We got a job to do tomorrow night, 6 to 8. We got a job to do Friday night, 6 to 8. Hey, real quick, Tiger Woods announced that he's going to play next week, the Genesis in Riviera. So it's going to be the first time in a long time that Tiger's getting back out there.
He played his own tournament.
Yeah,
right?
he did something with his son
Hero,
Charlie, but he's only played one official tournament since the Masters.
He says he's going to try to play once a month.
And it's huge because you need him here next month. I'm not going to say the players won't go on if you don't have Tiger Woods. There's been Players' Championships recently without Tiger Woods. But you have the Genesis, and then after that, you have, you go to Mexico, and then you go and you begin the Southern Swing. You begin in Palm Beach Gardens. Then you go to Bay Hill, where Tiger's won, 8 times? I would think that for those who have covered this event, and for those who have been astute, right, he's not a big fan of this golf course. And he won here as an amateur, and he's won as a pro. But my guess would be, and this is just a guess, I could be dead wrong, but my guess would be he'd much rather play at Arnold's tournament at Bay Hill, where he's been incredibly successful. Again, I think he's won there 8 times. And not play here a week later. But that's what's on tap. I'd be shocked if it's Palm Beach, even though he lives out there in Jupiter, close to there. I think it comes down to Arnold's event or here with the players. And I think there is a little bit of pressure. Tiger, this is the Players' Championship. We really need you to represent, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know how he feels publicly about Jay Monahan, how he feels publicly about the recent merger, about how so many other of these great players are not going to be a part of it because they're now with the LIV. Jon Rahm, you got to respect Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm made no issue about it. He said, listen, I won the Masters last year. It affected my LIV decision. It makes me in a scenario where I'm guaranteed to play in the Masters for the rest of my life. I've qualified for the United States Open until the year 2031, right? If you want to keep me out of the Players, you want to keep me out of the Players Championship or out of the PGA Championship, fine. But I got off for $300 million. I admire his honesty. The event going on beginning tomorrow is all of a sudden scary. In Phoenix, I mean, we got into it earlier in the week. Number 4 in the world, Viktor Hovland, not going to play. Number 5 in the world, Xander Schauffele, not going to play. So.
Bad weather, too.
Yeah. I think this year's players will be unaffected, and I hope it is, because I think people just want to go for the party and want to go for the event.
I'll be there.
$25 million is the purse. Scottie Scheffler won it a year ago. Absolutely. I will be there. There's no doubt. But, you know, there was a time, 48, 49 of the top 50 were always at the Players. And that's no longer going to be the case. All right. Should we do this now or on the other side?
Yeah, we can do it.
Let's get to I teased it earlier. I want to get into this a little bit. I think Trevor's answered it the right way. I would not give him an extension right now. I just wouldn't. I would try to address other areas, but the NFL Network asked him about that and his relationship with general manager Trent Baalke.
We have a little bit better communication than glances the whole way up. But no, it's it's something I'm not concerned with. Obviously, I would love to get a deal done at some point, whether it's this year, next year, who knows. I'm not really worried about that. But obviously, you want to have some security and you want to make money. You want to play and do as well as you can. But at the same time, I know I have a job to do regardless, whether I get the extension this year, next year, whenever it is. I have the same job to do. It's not going to change. I got to prepare myself to be the best player I can be next season and take us as far as we can go. So I know that that's my job and that's not going to change. So I just leave that up to my team and our front office and Trent and everybody to kind of talk about that and figure out what's the best step moving forward for the team first, obviously, and then myself as well. You know, you gotta look out for yourself too. But I understand that there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just about me and my situation. You know, we want to put our team in a good spot to have success moving forward. So a lot that goes into it that I'm not even going to think about because it's not. You know, I got to play football. I got a job to do, and that's not my job.
Yeah, I just said I appreciate the honesty of Jon Rahm. I appreciate the honesty there of Trevor Lawrence saying, yeah, I want to make the money. Yeah, I want to be secure. But, you know, let's do the right thing. He can play this year 4 of his rookie deal, $11.7 million. The fifth-year option, yes, that has to be picked up by the Jaguars. The fifth-year option is just a smidge over $21 million, right? If you were to not pick up the fifth-year option and put a franchise tag on him, it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $35 million. So it makes obvious sense to pick it up, and we'll see what they end up doing with Travis Etienne as well. You know, the deadline for a fifth-year option, let's see, it is yada, yada. I wrote it down here at I thought I had it. Okay. I thought it was in the mid part of March when that actually did take place. I don't know. I lost it. Actually, it's May 2nd. Yeah, May 2nd. My bad. Okay. May 2nd. So you got, you know, it's February, 7th. You've got a few months. But without question. I mean, why wait? I guess they will because that's just the way they do things. But why would you wait? I would get that done. It's going to be interesting though. What do you do with Travis Etienne? You pick up his fifth-year option. I'd be shocked if they were all willing to give him a long-term contract extension just because there's no value at the running back. There's none, league-wide. All right, appreciate that. Much more to do. Take you up until 8 o'clock tonight, and that's the case again tomorrow and Friday, 6 to 8 throughout the remainder of the week.
I want to hear it from you. Now, what do I want to hear? 1010XL. Again. 1010XL. I can't hear you.
1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
1010XL's coverage of National Signing Day is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning Services, proud sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Listen for updates all day on 1010XL.
Toilet or shower not draining? Water bill high? So many issues you want to cry? Call Mr. Rooter of Jacksonville. Have your number 2 business serviced by your number 1 plumber. Let us do your dirty work. Call us today.
Mr. Rooter, Mr. Rooter. This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about how God never fails us. In the Bible, Christ says this: I will in no way fail you or leave you without support. This is so important to remember because we can have the attitude, where is God when I need him? Why is this problem happening to me? No, just because your mind is saying one thing doesn't mean that God isn't going to do what he said. God has never failed us in the past. He's not about to start right now.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
I'm Hacker, and Denny Thompson and I will navigate you through the Florida football offseason during the Gator Bites podcast, presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. New episodes drop every Friday. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2024 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to purchase your Hills Pass today.
This is Hayes Carline for SkyLife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at SkyLife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. SkyLife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332, go to flyskylife.com, and find them on social media. Fly SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, an equal opportunity employer.
When you got a problem, nothing hits the sweet spot like a promise. And if you think you have a problem in selling your home, we got your promise with ChadandSandy.com. That's ChadandSandy.com. You want me to just get right down to it? As simple as this: your home sold, guaranteed, or they will buy it. So no matter what you think your problem is, maybe you're worried about selling for less money with a lowball instant offer, Chad and Sandy will deliver. They're the only real estate experts that we are trusting and recommending with the sale of your home. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Derek on the north side. After my father passed, I wanted to move to Tampa ASAP to be close to my family. Unfortunately, my plan hit a snag when my home failed to sell with another agent in over 151 days on the market. I hired Chad and Sandy. They sold it for full asking price in less than 30 days. If they don't, they'll buy it. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to ChadandSandy.com.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, when we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Join the drill with Jeff and Dan this Friday at Lifetime Enclosures on Phillips Highway. Spring is close, and that means specials on glass and screened enclosures all weekend. Drop in at Lifetime Enclosures Open House Friday through Sunday.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, Nick Saban to ESPN's Game Day. The release said that Lee Corso was still a part of it. I just, I honestly, I know nothing about this because I just don't see how it makes that much of a difference, but apparently it does, and I've learned more certainly on the Taylor Swift results. Nick Saban, I think, would be very good. I told you I left ESPN years ago. I just can't take it anymore. I found myself watching Urban Meyer and Fox. I think it's a better product. I despise Dr. Herbie. You're aware of that. Desmond Howard never goes outside the box. Desmond Howard knows he's going to get a free meal if he picks the home team. I actually like David Polk a little bit, but they say goodbye to him, right? Now you bring in the McAfee deal, and he's a monster. He makes, $25, $30 million a year. I really don't get it. The times I've listened to him, he's good. He is good. But, I'm a little, maybe I don't understand. I miss the old days. Reese Davis is awkward. Reese Davis is the type of guy who I was sure he had his lunch money beaten out of him at least 4 days a week when he was in high school. I mean, you can just look at him and tell that that's the difference. And then Lee Corso, man. I mean, I know it's a novelty, but come on. There was a time that Vin Scully had to get away. There was a time that Ernie Harwell had to get away. This SEC crowd, you guys pillaged Vern Lundquist. You didn't want him anymore. You didn't want Brent Musburger anymore. Lee Corso, he doesn't give you anything anymore. I mean, I know putting on the headgear is cool. And I'm a Lee Corso guy. How could I not be? But, I mean, enough is enough, right? You think Saban makes a difference? You think he brings eyeballs there, or it stays around the same?
Yeah, I haven't watched Game Day in a long time, but I would be more likely to check out a little bit now than I would if it was just the same cast of characters. Absolutely. I think there's definitely, fresh blood is needed on that show, and I think he's going to be good. I think Belichick's going to be badass. I'm excited for both those guys. I'm not a pregame show watcher. Like you said, you watch Fox. I don't watch any of it.
I watch a tad bit. I don't get up for it.
Yeah, it's just
if I'm
not
around.
for me.
Yeah. I very rarely do.
But I would check that out.
But there was a point in my life, like certainly the 7 years that I was in Chicago, that the ESPN Game Day on Saturday was can't-miss television.
Absolutely. I'd get up, to watch it.
Almost like Baseball Tonight. When you had Peter Gammons and Harold Reynolds
and
Paul
Ravitch.
Yeah, I mean, it was can't-miss I just don't.
There's so many different. Now that show, the reason it doesn't exist anymore is because there's so many places to get highlights.
Yeah.
But to me, game day really is just like, it's tough for me to watch Corso. You know, he's only there for a few segments of the show, but I don't know. It just got old for me. Then they started, editing what signs were allowed in, and I'm just like, dude, this is so corporate ESPN, man. At least McAfee's fun.
I tell you what's going to be big. Apparently, outside of Nate Burleson, I think everyone on the CBS set, their contract is coming to a close.
For the NFL.
Mm-hmm. There's talk that Burleson could replace James Brown. And you could see guys like Phil Simms and Boomer Esiason.
Who do they have, Marino?
Bill Cowher. No, Marino actually was replaced a few years ago.
Dude, they have like 12 guys on that desk.
Burleson's a star.
They'll give them like 3 seconds each to break down a game. They need less people.
See, this is another example. Like, Good Morning Football. Now, I don't get out of the rack as early as most of you, but when I do,
you catch the replay.
I would watch that. That show is nowhere near as good as it once was with the loss of Nate Burleson and Kay Adams. That's just fact. Kyle Brandt, what's your favorite color type of guy? Do you like cats or dogs?
Yeah, he was on The Real World.
Do you like chocolate or vanilla? I mean, that's.
I think Schrager's worse than him.
Oh, he's terrible. And he's trying to grow a beard. He's so soft.
Oh, I haven't seen
He's so lumpy. I mean, it's just no. I mean, I can't grow facial hair. Just listen, man. You stay the way you are, right? You're like the remake of Chris Collinsworth. Everyone's your buddy.
I was about to say.
Everyone's your friend.
He never criticizes anyone.
You only say nice things about everyone. And I was sitting today with the GF. We're watching it, and literally right in front, I'm like, mute. Whenever he talks, I'm just hitting the mute. The guy just drives me. And she's like, well, he picks like every Super Bowl. Didn't we pick this? Didn't you and I pick this? I got to go back and look.
I picked the Chiefs to beat the Cowboys.
I thought I had Chiefs.
You might have them. Give me 1 second.
Do you have that? Because if not, I know I have it in my office. I don't have it here. I thought I picked Kansas City over San Francisco.
You might have. That was a popular one this year.
Mm-hmm. The 30-50 set I wanted to get into, I just don't have time. Hackers here saying that this team needs to address running back, either in free agency or the draft. I disagree. I absolutely disagree. You have a final year out of Travis Etienne, and you've got a second year out of Tank Bigsby. I think Bigsby showed a couple of things late in Week 18 and Week 17. The last two games, Game 16 and 17. There's just way too many other things that this football team needs to do. He says, bring me in King Henry. No. I don't think they want to pay that amount of money for a one-year contract. Any luck?
Yeah, I have bad news for you.
Oh!
You did pick the Niners to make the Super Bowl, but you picked them to lose to the Bengals.
I picked Cincinnati.
Nobody saw that coming, though.
I tell you what no one saw coming was my college football national champion. The Bayou Bengals from LSU.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Tire Outlet is now hiring. Visit TireOutlet.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
Pack of those dreams came to an end in Orlando when Jordan Travis and the boys lit them up.
It was a great game to start the college football season. It was interesting. You picked Cincinnati to go to the Super Bowl. Great minds think alike, and apparently you and I do as well. I had Cincinnati and Philadelphia, so you did way better than I did. At least one of my teams made the playoffs, but then they were routed on Wild Card Weekend.
Well, one of the most interesting questions is who's the next one, and Brock Purdy was never part of that conversation. It's always been Burrow, Allen, Herbert, Lawrence, Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I mean, there's 8 or 9 quarterbacks that we mentioned. Brock Purdy's never really been that guy.
And this is something I've been thinking about. I brought it up a little bit last night. I wonder, and I'm guilty of this as well because I'm picking Kansas City to win, but I wonder if we've forgotten how good San Francisco is when they're playing well. You could argue Green Bay outplayed them, yet the 49ers won the game. I think Detroit, no question, outplayed them, yet the 49ers won the game. So they're lucky to be here. If they put it all together, they could very easily beat Kansas City. But, Rick, they can't fall behind, man. You fall behind the Mahomes and the Chiefs, Andy Reid's not going to make dumb mistakes like Dan Campbell. You're not going to come back on them.
Did you see some early games that are scheduled for next year? Because we just mentioned that Florida State-LSU game.
In college?
Florida State's in double. But you got Florida-Miami. I also believe early on you have Texas-Michigan.
Isn't Georgia-Clemson next year too?
I believe it is.
Yes to both of those.
Right? I see Oregon-Ohio State.
Yeah.
Okay. I see Michigan going to Washington. I see, let's see here, LSU, USC.
It's crazy. And that's
in Vegas, by the way?
That's the 12-team playoff. And I know these games were scheduled in advance, but a loss now doesn't necessarily kill you like it would in a 4-team playoff. In fact, 2 losses may not kill you. 3 losses probably do. But I think it's good for college football that you're going to see more of these games, and I'm for that. I never understood, Rick, the outcry for Florida fans, let's play the best. There was no need to do that because you lose one game and you were in trouble, particularly with that SEC schedule. At least now with 12 teams making the playoff, you can afford a loss or 2 and still get you to your ultimate goal. So because of that, I think you'll see more and more of these big-time interconference matchups.
Yeah, you're going to have some whining from the non-power 4 now, not 5, because the Pac-12 has been diminished. But I think it's going to be really, really hard for a non-Big 12 in Atlantic Coast Conference champion to grab one of these at-large bids. I mean, we saw the influence last year. Now with this new app that is apparently going to be here by the fall, I think 2 lost teams, maybe even one with an enormous street cred, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, if they have a 3rd loss, but it's, in a championship game and they lose by a field or something like that, are they going to get a better look than a Texas Tech would or a Louisville would by finishing 11-2 or 11-1 in those 2 conferences?
And that'll be the interesting thing what the committee decides to do. But isn't it great that you and I are sitting here talking about a 12-team
it changes everything.
College football playoff. It's going to be the best college football season that we've probably ever had. And again, the longest. You and I talked about it. Florida State kicks off on August 24th, right, in Dublin, Ireland against Georgia Tech. And the season doesn't end until January 20th. Right. You got 5 months of college football when the season kicks off.
It's going to be crazy. And the best part about that, too, is there'll still be complaints about Team 13, but it's not like Team 5,
right.
And it's not like it was with Team 3. Chances are Team 13 is going to get knocked out of that thing.
Well, that's why the committee probably left Florida State out, because that'll never happen again.
Yeah, it was
in the history of college football, it'll never happen again, so they didn't have to answer it. There was no precedent or anything. It's the only time it will ever happen now because Florida State would obviously have gotten in under a 12-team format.
All right, what else we got tonight?
Obviously, we'll do a little bit of college football. We always do on Hacker After Dark. Leon Searcy joins me as he does every week. And I know you did a little draft talk earlier. I'm going to start mine up as well. Shane Hallam of Draft Countdown. That's one of my go-to websites this time of year. Always love draftcountdown.com. We'll get him on. We're going to talk about the draft, Rick, but more so tonight, I want to talk about Trayvon Walker and Anton Harrison and Devin Lloyd and some of the young Jaguars that Shane scouted and just get his thoughts from a draft Nick perspective on those guys' first couple of years in the league and how he sees them moving forward.
All right, Hack. Have a lot of fun.
Thanks, Rick.
That's coming up right now. Hacker Nation right here, beginning in just a couple of minutes. All right, I don't check the text line now that the show is over, as I say each and every night, but if you do want to get a hold of me, as always, the best way to do so is on Twitter, Blue1010XL. Thank you to Cody Carpentier for joining us. I appreciate him tonight. He was with Roster Watch, which is a nice draft website as well. The Philly Godfather live from Las Vegas. And, of course, J.J. LaSelva. My name is Rick Ballou. Have an outstanding night. I will talk with you tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
First of all, congratulations on the show.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
How do you like being in a real studio?
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.